Hello everyone and happy Sunday afternoon. This is your host, John Minarsik with John Minarsik Fine Art. And today's an awesome Sunday. You know why it's an awesome Sunday? I've got 2 days off next week, Monday and Tuesday. I took vacation time. That's cool, 4-day weekend. And it's also 51 degrees in the western suburbs of Chicago today. Sunny, absolutely beautiful out. So today, we're going to do another oil painting. We are going to be using a 16 by 20 stretch canvas. We're going to be using our Walnut Alkyd medium from, I don't know if you can read this, but it's from Midground. We're going to be using our Windsor Newton Griffin Alkyd oil paints. We're going to be using a big 2-inch bristle brush. It's actually a gesso brush, but it's got the bristles. And we're going to start with making a little bit of a mess like we always do. It's been a while since I did a painting without using this method. Dropping my brush was not part of it, but it just happened. Okay, so here's the brush I'm using. Just a gesso brush. I'm just gonna put some stuff down. So, like normal, we've got sap green and Payne's gray. Now, just so you know, I'm out of sap green. And every place I look, they're back ordered to whenever. So starting next Sunday, I've got olive green to use with the Payne's gray. And that should be fine too. Olive green's a real nice dark green, especially with the Griffin Alkyd line. It's really nice. Okay, so I was thinking today, let's just throw some color down and see what happens. And you're going to say, well, John, we do that all the time. Yeah, we do. And that's why I like it. It's fun. I'm just going to go forest here. I do enjoy this. What am I going to do over here? Just, I'm not going to make a big mountain today. Maybe just a little hill. This might even be a grass hill, maybe like a bluff. We have bluffs, not where I live, western suburbs of Chicago, but north of us, about 4 hours. Baraboo, Wisconsin has bluffs around Devil's Lake and stuff. It's a really nice area. This, I want to make some land. There we go, land. What I'm probably going to do, I'm thinking about, this part's going to be more of like a pasture. That's just coming to me as I'm doing it. Like I said, I apologize if I sound like a broken record. But ever since I adopted this style, it's been just so much fun. It gets frustrating once in a while, but overall it's a blast. So what I'm going to do is, this is going to be probably like a pasture. Maybe have a couple faint flowers, not in your face because it is midground, not foreground. Here, as you can tell, it's going to be a little forest. Like that there. Again, you don't want everything the same size, height. Here, do this here to back these up just a little bit. And I'll go like this. Okay, so what I just did, okay, let's see if you can see this on video. Yeah, it is coming out pretty good. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, this is going to be a little pasture, like I said. Maybe some nice green grass, some little flowers, faint, like I said. Over here, it's going to be probably green grass too, but it's going to be a little more subdued. A little more, this will be more, let's say, sap green and lemon yellow. This will be more sap green and yellow ochre. Tone it down a little bit. Maybe a little alizarin crimson. Tone it down a little bit. And then what I'll do is, I'll put the highlights on here with probably yellow to brighten it up a little bit, and maybe red as shadows a little bit, and then it'll kind of blend together. And then what I'm going to do here in a second, before I put all that stuff, is I'm also going to put a tree line behind it. But I want the tree line to be real faint. So, what do? Same thing we've been doing. It's going to be a very green painting. Which, considering it's February 4th, is awesome to me because I'm not a winter guy. and I am a spring summer guy. Okay, so what the heck happened to our bluff? Well, just to make it easier, I'll take the same mixture, same dirty brush. See it? Put a little bit more Payne's gray in it. There we go. There, I still want that back there. There we go. Just a little bit. There we go. Let's see how defined that is. Oh, good. Well, that's real defined. Okay, now, obviously, we gotta have water. I just hit the tripod. I'm sorry, folks. So we gotta have water. Wouldn't be a John Monarsic fine art painting without it. So. Right there will be the water line, roughly. This will be more foliage and stuff like that as I go. As a matter of fact, I may bring some trees in the front. Now, the next thing I got to do is I got to wipe some of this off. Now, you're asking, why wipe it off? It looks good. It does. But here's the problem. Perspective. That old 4-letter word. Actually, it's a lot more than 4 letters, but you get the idea. This forest is a little thicker, a little denser. It's going to go back into the distance here and then come up again here. This is behind the bluff. So in order to make it look that way, it's got to be a lot more faint. It's got too much color in it. So. There we go. There we go. Now, once I put the sky in there, then I'll put some more really faint green Payne's gray mixture. And then I'll tap in some foliage with the edge of the 2-inch gesso brush. And that ought to set it back. And then once I do the highlights on this little part of the bluff here, it's going to show up real nice. So let's continue. I'm going to make this just a little bit. Just giving it a little bit better shape. A little higher up the ridge. But I don't want it further here. Okay. And this, just so I see my cutoff. There we go. Okay, so not gonna wash my brush. I've got watercolors on it as it is. Not watercolor paint, watercolors of water. You know what I meant. So, still gonna be using my medium. Same dirty brush, going in the French ultramarine. Just gonna get an idea where my water is. I put a line down, so now I'm gonna put the actual color that way. I'm pretty set on my schematic. Doesn't have to be perfectly straight, but I like to get it as straight as I can on the far bank. If you've seen any of my paintings, you see the far bank I try to keep straight. The closest bank to us can be anything. There we go. That edge will work. Okay. Let's see here. How am I going to balance this out? I got a little bit heavy over there, so I'll come in this way. As you know, I don't like taking everything straight down. So I'm going to just put this in a little bit. I have the water go like that. And this will probably be a little bit of land here. This is going to be grass, trees, rocks, whatever I feel like. As a matter of fact, I'll add a little brown, a little bit of yellow ochre. I'll just put some ground in right now. I want to see exactly how high I want it to come up. Yellow ochre is a great earth tone. You can do so much with it. What's nice is it's a good backdrop too, because once I start putting my bright lemon yellow and stuff like that in here, it's really going to show up nice. But in the meantime, it gives it a real nice background. Matter of fact, I'm going to have this come out just a little bit more. There we go. There we go. This up. Okay, let's see how that looks. Okay, I can deal with that. I can deal with that. What I didn't do was go into my garage and get an extra roll of paper towels. I've only got a few left here. So we'll see how this works. I don't usually like skimping on paper towels, and I'm not going to. If I run into the problem, I'll pause the video and go out in the garage and get some more. French ultramarine. My medium, a little bit of Payne's gray. Same dirty brush. We're gonna fill in the water. Now, this isn't the highlights or anything like that. I'm just filling it in. I'll get the horizontal movement correct. I'll get the land correct. Get all that stuff worked out. Not worried about filling up every aspect. If I miss a spot on the canvas, it's not a big deal. My whole thing is I'm going to have white to be like the white caps and show movement of the water. So sometimes it actually works out real well. Oh, wow. I ended up getting crimson on my brush by mistake, and that doesn't matter. I'm going to have crimson in the painting anyway, so might as well put some in the water, right? My method of painting, probably not exclusive. You know, I've told you a couple of people that I got the kind of general beginning ideas from and stuff. But, you know, I'm kind of making it my own a little bit with what I do and how I finish. I like this real loose approach, okay? And not caring if I got a little bit of crimson doesn't mean I don't care about my painting. I care about it deeply. What it does mean is, why worry about stuff that isn't relevant, okay? And what I mean by that is, I'm going to use alizarin crimson in this painting anyways, okay? All over the place. So it's going to be in flowers and stuff. Well, guess what? There's going to be some times where it's reflected into the water, or some of the leaves of the flowers fall into the water. So you're going to see it in the water here and there anyway. So it doesn't matter. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is I am going to wipe this nasty brush off. I got brown, I got all kinds of stuff in here. Yuck. I'm going to do the sky with this yuck brush. And it's going to be cool sky. It's going to be a cool sky. So right now, the only thing I'm doing to see what color I have, I'm just going to start out with just a little white. Hey, that's not too bad. Now I'll add a little of my French ultramarine, and now we got a sky. Magic. Okay, you've seen the way I do this before. I'm not really good at cutting in and around stuff, so I'm going to have a little bit of green in here. And I don't care. Green in my sky, I've learned to like. Matter of fact, I don't know if I can live without it. I love green in my sky. And one day you may too. Okay. Obviously these strokes aren't going to last. I'm going to blend it so everything's not, you know, up and down like this in a vertical sense. So that won't stay that way. This is just for now. I want to get around the trees as best I can. And then once I put that real thick, beautiful oil paint color on the canvas for the trees, then it'll really show up nice. And I'm not even sure if I'm even going to have any sky over on this side. I'm kind of going back and forth because I may just fill it up with background trees. I haven't decided yet. Once I start going with that stuff, then I'll know for sure. But for right now, I'm just going to put a sky in just in case. Just in case. Okay, so there's my sky. Looks stupid, doesn't it? Well, let's blend it out. Let's do our crisscross strokes. Doesn't matter if you start on the top or the bottom. Doesn't matter if you got green in it. You just want it blended. You want it smooth. I don't like a rough sky. Once in a while I do if I'm using a palette knife. But not using a palette knife today. Okay. Now I'm not going to go into here and mess with that. I'm just going in the places where the trees were not. Okay. There we go. Now I'm going to put some yellow ochre, a little bit of sap green. Put it right in here. See how beautiful that yellow ochre and sap green look together? There we go. Okay. So there, ladies and gentlemen, is our main strategy. That's our schematic. So at this time, I actually will. No, I'm not. I was going to say I'm going to clean the brush, but no, I'm not. I think what I'm going to do is I am going to get my tree lines all over the place. Same brush I've been using, I'm just using the edge. And I'm going to keep tapping until I just blend it right into everything and it's real faint. But I wanted a foliage look. I didn't want anything that was just a blah green. Wipe off my brush. Now I'm going to put on a little bit more brown in the Payne's gray. What I'm doing here is I'm defining my tree line now. And then this has to come down a little bit. This has moved a little bit, but not much. Okay, I'm going to bring it down to here, and then I'll have these trees in front of it. There we go. Okay. How's that look? That looks good. Okay, now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another brush for the first time in a while. Yep, I will run out of paper towels. I kind of figured. I always do. Okay, so nothing major. Just some indications. One load of the brush took out everything I wanted. Now, I'm going to tap in foliage again, leaving some of those branches in. But I'm not going to have anything but some more faint green. Faint green means it's, I have a lot more medium than paint. It's not a very opaque paint. I just want enough to cover what we're doing. There we go. Let's see how that looks on camera. Okay, it's going to look better once I get the highlights in, which I think I'm going to do now. And I told you before I was going to use some lemon yellow and kind of blend those in together, and I think I will. So now I'm taking just straight lemon yellow, but I want to blend it, so I'm not going to glide it like I do on a lot of highlights for mountains and bluffs and stuff. This I want to actually blend in a little bit. Towel. Now, I usually don't wipe my brush this often when I'm doing highlights like this, but I need the yellow to show up for a bright green in some areas. So there's a lot of dark on there that's going to be on the brush. So you're just wiping the brush. And reloading, wiping the brush, reloading, and so on. And now I can just mess with it. I got that initial line. You see how nice that green looks. Tap in a little bit of yellow. And this is just not straight lemon yellow now because it's mixed with stuff. But it's basically lemon yellow mixed with what's on there. Here I'm not going to worry about because I'm going to have some stuff going up. Just wanted to have it come down. There, that looks good. Okay. Now I think I'm going to take the big 2-inch brush, which has done the monster work today, and actually it does usually all the time, and put in some of my big trees. Now, I don't know if you've ever been to my website or not, johnmonarsikfineart.biz, but it's going to be, you might find it kind of amusing because I have a certain amount of small paintings on my website where, you know, for the YouTube, I have, you know, bigger stuff usually. And the reason I do that is just easier to see. Okay, now we're going with the real thick color. Nice and opaque. And this is sap green, a little bit of Van Dyke brown, and Payne's gray. And this is going to be probably, these are going to be my big trees. Okay. Now, my mistake. These are the big trees. It's going to go all the way down here, so it's going to cut off the bluffs. Okay. There we go. Okay, I'm liking that. And I'm already starting to figure out in my head which ones I'm going to highlight and which ones I'm not. So, why is that an issue? Okay. So if I highlight everything, it's going to look like it's on the same plane. And what I think I want to do is, one of the things about painting, regardless of the medium, is you want different planes, okay, different depth. That's why these are faint. They look like they're behind the mountain. And then when I put other stuff in front of it, they're really going to be pushed back. These are the tallest because they've gone down right to the water line almost. These are smaller from the way we see it, so they're going to look like they're further back. So what do? The ones that are further back are not going to have highlights on them at all, okay? I'm going to leave these dark. I may add to dark. That I'm going to leave alone. I may add a little bit more yellow to the bluffs to push it back a little bit more. I'm for sure going to highlight this, but I'm gonna make these a little bit brighter than these. I'll highlight this and this, not this and not this. This I may make brighter than this, just so it stays in the forefront. Okay, now, just to add some color. This is lemon yellow and sap green. Okay. Now, I'm going to use the same mixture, but more yellow ochre. I think I'm going to make here a couple of different levels. Stuff going up. There we go. Yeah, this I'm going to leave at this level, and this I'm going to have a couple of them. So I'm going to start with that right now. The brush I'm not going to even clean, the big 2-inch. I'm going to go right into my fan brush and my lemon yellow. I'm going to go straight up. And you can see how easy it's just sucking that color in with all that dark. I'm going to make another one. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to start adding different colors. It's all too monotonous, so now a little bit of lemon, yellow ochre in different places. And this will be grass. Okay, now what I'm going to do is, this just came to me. I don't like the way the highlights look on my bluff. The problem is they're too close color-wise and everything else to there. So I want to keep the same color, but I'm going to change the texture. So I'm going to use a palette knife with a little bit of sap green. And then I just want to get this nice little see how that changes everything? There we go. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Payne's Gray and Brown, and I'm going to bring some more up. So now I'm going to have that real sharp contrast. One of the things you always want to look for, and it happens to everybody, as you're painting, sometimes you get something a little more monotonous. You don't have that contrast, that depth that you're looking for. And once you start painting enough and you've got the experience, you'll catch it and you'll see it like I did. You know, and if you don't catch it right away, it doesn't mean you're a terrible artist. It just means you need more practice. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring the brown up. This is brown, Payne's Gray, and sap green. Okay, now I'm going to take a different, I'm going to take my big 2-inch brush. I'm going to have my lemon yellow. Then I'm going to take more of the brown and my sap green and everything else. There we go. Now you've got different areas on there, different planes, and now it's perfect for having little flowers. which I'm going to put in right now. And I got to find my perfect brush for it that I just lost. Here we go. Okay. Now the next thing I want to do and what this is alizarin crimson. And then I'm going to put the lemon yellow right over it so I get a real nice orange. And it's going to be like Wildflowers because I'm going to also bring them up. And I'll show you that in a second. Okay, now that I got this in here, just Wildflowers. There we go. Okay, that looks good on that side. Over here, it's going to be a lot more consistent with just a little tapped in grass. You can use any brush for it because of the size. I'm going to just use the 2 inch. It's got a little orange on it from what I've been doing, but that's okay. I just want to get the feel of some grass. And as usual, I'm going to run out of yellow. I have to squirt some more on the palette. If you noticed, I'm doing a lot more of this before I even do the water. That's because of all the stuff you get in there. Okay, there we go. Fan brush with that same dark mixture. There we go. Okay. That's looking good. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to wipe off but not clean my 2-inch brush. The reason I make it clear to you that I'm cleaning and not, that I'm wiping it off and not cleaning it, isn't because I think you're stupid or anything like that. It's just kind of to illustrate how long and how far you can go with your brush cleaner. Meaning, if you don't clean your brush constantly, like 50 times while you're painting, it's going to last longer. Because depending on what you get, the brush cleaner is not cheap. Some of it's ridiculously expensive, some of it's moderate, and then you get the odorless mineral spirits at the hardware store that's real cheap, but it's also, even though it's odorless, the fumes are still in the air and it's not healthy to breathe. So basically when I say that, it's just, I don't wash my brushes that often, so I can have a gallon of this stuff last me almost a year. So at that point in time, you're in good shape. Okay, now the first thing I want to do is reestablish dark here. I want this to be dark, dark. And then I'm going to put in my highlights. So I'm really making sure. And I'm probably going to put a couple little bushes at the bottom. And then over here, the same thing. every once in a while I get the feeling I didn't do enough. I don't want that feeling on this painting. I'm liking the way this is shaping up. There we go. Okay. Now I haven't decided yet. I probably won't decide until the end of the painting. I may put a couple of these over here too, just to break this up. I have not decided that yet. Actually, I take that back. I did decide it. I'm going to. And for that, I'm going to need to put more Payne's Gray out on my palette. Oh, wow. If I put this all over my clothes, my wife will kill me. I'm usually not a messy oil painter, but every once in a while, I find extra paint on my hands and I'm thinking, how in the hell did I get that on my hands? I don't like wearing gloves. I'm not allergic to my skin, thank goodness. Oil paint and stuff, and the stuff I'm using isn't really bad oil paints anyways. So I do have a tendency to get it on me at times. Okay, we're going with what we started with. Payne's Gray, sap grain. Difference is no medium, straight paint. Okay, so I'm gonna have, I don't want it to be right where everything is, so I'm not gonna go all the way down. But I am gonna make it thick. I think we're good. I think we are good. Okay. Clean up my brush. Again, wiping, not washing. And then I'm going to go and squirt out a little bit more lemon yellow. Oh, almost dropped that. I don't know what the heck I got the dropsies for today. Probably put out a little more than I needed, but hey, a little bit more is better than less. Yeah. I don't like wasting paint. I really don't. Even though my paint that I use isn't ridiculously expensive, I still don't like wasting it because it's still money, but I want to make sure I got enough. Okay, same dirty brush. It's been, it hasn't been washed, but it's been wiped. So, let's go here. There we go. A little bit here, but I'm gonna, these aren't gonna be as bright. I'm gonna do a little bit lighter tap. I hope it shows up. I'll check in a second. But I'm getting a real pretty green here. I'm just not getting a real crazy yellow, except for that, which I'll get rid of in a second. That one too. Okay. Over here. There we go. And then these are darker. These I'm going to use a fan brush. going to use a fan brush, one with some imperfections in it. I don't know if you can see that. I just don't want the yellow. I want it brighter, but I don't want the yellow just in your face. It's a little bit of green. There we go. There we go. There we go. Okay, that's looking real good. Alrighty. Now, I do wash some of these little ones because those don't take anything for brush cleaner. It's my big brushes that I only do once or twice during a session, usually. Okay, I want to get some land in first now, and then I'm going to do the water. So the land, I'm going to start with sap green and yellow ochre. And one of the things I hope you notice, I hope it shows up, is the more you tap, the better the texture gets. One or two taps and it's a lot coarser. Maybe not like a palette knife coarse, but it's a lot more than a brush stroke. But the more you tap it, the smoother it gets. Now I don't want to take out all of it. I like seeing some of this rougher stuff, but not as much as before. You know, the ground is not smooth in a landscape. So in order to, you know, to paint it that way just wouldn't be good. Sky, yeah. Water, sometimes. Depends on the water. This isn't a waterfall, so this water, I haven't decided how rough I'm going to make it. That is, if you've seen any of my previous videos, know that's my wife's Quaker parrot, Raphael. She let me name him after my favorite artist, Raphael Sanzio. And every once in a while, he just wants to be heard. And it's always when I'm doing a painting. He has a perfect record with that. Okay. So that's all done. Wipe the brush. Okay. Now I'll take a cleaned fan and I'll start putting in some titanium white. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to give it the opacity for the water, give it a little bit of movement, kind of feel my way around, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Because I'm going to be adding blue as I go. I'm going to be adding more of this as I go. See, like that, I like there. So I'm going to probably leave that. And basically, I don't want to cover all my blues. I love blue water, but I'm trying to get a little bit of movement, a little bit of those reflections from the sunlight hitting it. You know, this stuff here. And then in these little coves, I like it to be defined. Gotta make that one a little straighter. Water straight, it doesn't fall over like that. Lift this up. See how that looks. Okay, I actually like that. I'm gonna leave that alone. Usually it takes me a lot more fiddling, I should say, with the water to get to where I want it to be. But that one came out the first time, so I'm a very happy guy. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I want to get some reeds and stuff coming up through here and then finish the foreground. This I'm going to put a couple little bushes here and there. Haven't exactly decided where. So, Payne's Gray, Sap Green. Just touching and dragging up. How high up is up to you. We're going to be adding flowers to them. Ooh, almost dropped my palette all the way. That wouldn't have been good. There we go. Now what I think I'm going to do, I think I'm going to do this all over the place. I have different places where I just have wildflowers. I'm in a wildflower kind of mood. Yeah, I'm just going to put a ton of wildflowers down. I love wildflowers. My wife and I are we're members of the Morton Arboretum in Lisle, Illinois. And along about the end of May, it is just so incredibly beautiful there. And they have these pastures with the wildflowers. It's stunning. Sorry, I missed that. I was looking for another brush and I could not find it. Okay, so we're going to start with what we did before over here. Now I'm making, it looks like it's going to be all red and then orange. No, it's not. I'm going to be putting stuff all over the place. This brush I'll be washing off quite a bit, just because I need clean color on clean color to get a real clean mixture. You know, when I have my oranges, I like them to be bright oranges. I don't like them to be dull because my brush is bad. Now, next one you're going to see, one of my favorites, and if I'm not mistaken, I think the Arboretum has them year-round. They're blue bells, blue bonnets, something like that. So I kind of give my own rendition of them. Basically, it's French ultramarine and titanium white. Tapping very lightly. And over here it'll do it a little heavier. Now, I also want to put some of this up here. The reason I'm doing this is because wherever you put a color, you want to put it somewhere else. You don't want it to look like it, you don't want it to look like it's exclusive somewhere. Okay, so, and the reason I do that, like I said, I don't want it to be exclusive, and the reason I don't want it to look exclusive in the place is it just doesn't look natural. If you see a red flower in the nature in one place, you're going to see it somewhere else within a scene that your eyes are checking out. And it gives the painting, the composition, color harmony. It makes it to where it just, I don't know, it has a really good feel to it. Okay, so now I'm going to be lifting up a little bit. And I think that's it, my friends. I think we're going to call that a painting. And it's just under an hour, so that's kind of cool. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider subscribing to my channel. I actually got 411 subscribers, which is freaking awesome. I never thought I'd get 11, let alone 411. So if you did like this and got any value out of it, consider subscribing. If you do subscribe, hit that little bell so you know when I upload. So far, I've been real consistent over the last, I want to say a couple months, posting every Sunday night, a regular full-length, real-time video. So again, I hope everybody enjoyed the painting. I hope you have a great and safe work week, and I will see everybody next week on Sunday.